blah, 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 13, 15. You ever wondered, as I often have, about what happened to the kids who didn't win the Willy Wonka factory? All the non-Charlies. Mike TV, Augustus Gloop, Veruca Salt, and that other girl who became a blueberry. Anyone else? Anyone else in this? I think I got them all. Do you ever wonder what happened to them afterwards? Like, did that experience, like, keep them off sweets? Did they feel like they, like, it's a defining moment in their life? Or was it just like a little tiny blip and they moved on, you know? And occasionally someone goes, oh, weren't you one of the golden ticket winners? And they're like, yeah, whatever, I don't want to talk about it. Like, it's a curious question, right? No? Right? I mean, whichever, the book version, original movie version, new movie version, still an interesting question. You know, of course, The Simpsons had their, what happened to all the kids who didn't win in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Joe? Simpsons, they had Werner Herzog, probably one of the first times he guest starred in. Uh, they said, where he said he won a factory when he was a child, you know, and he said, it's about like, oh, you're Augustus Gloop, you know, oh, I know. Homer's like, I know, he's Augustus Gloop, aren't you? The fat little kid who got stuck in the tube, and Werner Herzog goes, yes, every night I dream of the tubes. You don't come back from being a blueberry. You don't you don't make gum that tastes like an entire meal. We're in a fantastical world, okay? You're telling me the Burton era Johnny Depp one, uh, which specifically gave us an ending where we see the kids leave, is like, that's like the American ending of Brazil. That's just fake. In that reality, they do go move on. They do in that version. She was juiced. I wonder if they sell Violet Beauregard. Ha! All the names. Sorry, it's weird things that I get proud of. They sell essence of Violet Beauregard in the Wonka factory. Every pack made with 2% Violet Beauregard. Oh no! Look, I'm not discussing the moral. It's called a morality play. The original book. It's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, a morality play. They suffer, but if I recall the book correctly, it's been many years, but if I recall the book correctly, they do survive. They do leave the factory. Um, uh, so, I mean, Charlie doesn't actually win either. Sure. Um, Anyone? Any thoughts? I like to think that um, they're haunted by it. You know, and they every night they do dream of the tubes. And Violet Beauregard is constantly watching her weight because she feels like she's turning into a blueberry. You know, Veruca Salt is absolutely terrified of squirrels. She can't even be in places where there's a lot of trees. You know, that's my belief, because that is a formative time in your life to be assaulted by squirrels, right? To be called, I think it was it bad nut, right? She's a bad nut. Um, it's a bad time in your life for that to happen to you. That's really going to mess you up. Um, you know what I mean? I think Charlie is pretty messed. I mean, you get in a factory at 11 years old. That can't be good for you. um, yeah, I'm pretty sure. At least I'm thinking. I'm right now. I'm thinking of the Burton film. It's definitely squirrels, right? They're judging the nuts if they're good nuts or bad nuts. Uh, yeah, right. There we go. Maybe a little wiser. Yeah, yeah. See, thanks, Doc. Sorry, Electroductoland to be formal. Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, every version, I'm pretty sure that they live on, and like that's some serious, um, that's some serious trauma. Okay, the only one maybe who doesn't have a problem is Mike TV. But Mike TV is clearly a borderline schizophrenic who has trouble differentiating between reality and fantasy. So the idea that he's been tinified and moved into the television is not going to be good for that, right? Okay, Veruca's narcissism might actually be helped by what happened to her. But Mike TV's issue isn't that he's obsessed with television. That's what Roald Dahl was trying to say because television was trash in those days. But it's much more that he has trouble differentiating between what he sees on television and what he sees in reality. And now he recalls being inside the television and 2 inches tall. Mike TV by David Cronenberg. Yeah, like what's the Danny from The Shining's book, Doctor Sleep, right? Mike TV's Doctor Sleep. It's what his future is like because he just literally can't tell the difference between television and real life. Videodrome. Videodrome. It is Videodrome. Right, you're right. You're right. We saw it. It was made before any of us even thought of the idea. It's one of those things. Like it's funny because people do this to things like Peanuts, Calvin and Hobbes. You know, there's a famous Calvin and Hobbes. Fight Club is Calvin and Hobbes. You know, Calvin on all the medication. Calvin deeply capitalized, and then he becomes Hobbes. Tyler Durden. That stuff's fun because it plays on the archetypal ideas of these sort of pairings. But Willy Wonka is supposed to be about morality. It's supposed to be about them learning something, and I don't think they do. I don't think those kids learn anything. Charlie certainly doesn't. He stole. In one, he stole fizzy lifting drink. In the original, that's the one. That's the line everyone remembers. You stole fizzy lifting drink. I can't remember what he actually stole in the book. It was not gas that floats you to the ceiling. I don't believe. Uh, it's something else he does, but he gets it anyway because he's the least rotten, and his grandpa's such a good guy. And you're okay. So it's not a morality play in the end. You're the poor kid. So we'll help you out. It's just bizarre. So if that's our lesson, then what do we take away for the rest of them? Because clearly they're not going to learn something. Clearly they're not going to be okay. They will dream of Oompa Loompas. You know, a small person walks past them and they will lose their mind. Not good. Not good. I wonder if they can sue the factory now owned by Charlie for the trauma that they experienced. Probably. Absolutely. I mean, they promise us signed waivers, though. When you get your golden ticket, you must sign a waiver. Willy Wonka can do whatever he wants to me. I don't care. Because I got a golden ticket. Anyway, those are my thoughts for today. I've got literally nothing to say. I did diamond ordering, helped customers, talked to lots of browsers, helped sell things to regular customers. Ugh, I'm like, ugh, but this is what's running through my head. A gobstopper for himself so he won't be hungry. You're right, because he's so hungry. He's always so hungry. And then he's like, and I'm going to give it to Slugworth. Slugworth? Not Slughorn. Slugworth? Slugworth? I don't know. I'm going to give it to the bad guy. And you're like, oh, that was a test. But you wouldn't, would you? He goes, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't let my grandpa do that. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's a great book. He was a real kook, that Roald Dahl. Evidenced by the fact that he wrote the movie. If you've ever read the original and then read the movie and go, wow, what happened here? Roald Dahl himself. The only example better is, of course, Joe, you want to say it with me? Discussing the podcast. The only time an author took his story and made it so much worse when he made it a film know. Slugworth? Who would buy candy for someone named Wonka? Hershey. Nestle. They're just names. Anyway, the only time is, of course, our dear friend Famous McFamous's Johnny Mnemonic. William Gibson himself, just absolutely destroying a wonderful short story. And on that note, me just ripping into the great William Gibson and judging him sitting here in my house. Remember, babies, you gotta be kind.